Welcome to Dance Mogul Magazine. We're so happy to have you here with us at the Faison George Dance Theater in Harlem, New York. This particular situation is long overdue. We're in great anticipation of you and your insights, your spirit, and just your journey into dance. I want you to introduce yourself to our readers because this is such a historic moment and a historic time in history where I'm able to do this because we just really need more of this. So if you will please introduce yourself to our audience.
I would love to. And first of all, I'd like to say how honoured I am and humbled that I am that you've invited me to share myself with you. My name's Dollie Henry. And I'm from the UK, London, UK, and I'm a jazz theatre choreographer. I'm a mentor, I'm an educator, and I'm artistic director of the only jazz theatre company in the UK. That with itself brings a lot of pressure because being the only jazz company, there is nobody ahead of me, and it almost seems that there's no one behind me. So I feel at times quite lonely. But having said that, that gives me the courage, it gives me the determination to pursue my creative and artistic journey, not only as a creative artist, but also as a human being. I think the two are intrinsically linked. And I'm just delighted to be here in New York to present myself to you and to present myself to the New York dancers on this trip this time.
Well, that's great, and thank you so much for that. So we want to go back a little bit because we want to be able to help up-and-coming dancers, choreographers, and so on to just understand and get to know you a little bit more. Can you just take us back on your journey in terms of maybe even when did you first discover your passion for dance?
Well, my passion came, and I do believe it came to me. I didn't run to it, it asked me. And I started dancing at the age of 4. And you have to imagine, I'm now at a certain age of my life where I call myself a 60s child. So I'm going to tell you when I was born. I was born in 1962. So at that time in England, there were very few black artists of any kind at all. And there were very few young dancers or young children taking up what would be seen to be an artistic form of creativity. I was very blessed, and I still believe I'm very blessed that I had two wonderful parents who really gave me an opportunity to step forward and try what they wanted. All of us as children, try what we wanted to try. And dance seemed to be the thing that I loved. I was a child apparently that had an awful lot of energy and a lot of passion for getting up and doing things. I would watch TV and music would come on and I would just get up and I would start dancing. So apparently at the age of 2, there was a commercial on TV which was for Spaghetti Heinz, and I would get up and I would dance. So that passion has been there. I think I was born with it. I still believe that I was born with it because if that wasn't the case, I wouldn't be doing it today.
How did you separate the fact that you had the passion for dance and decided that, okay, this is a real passion for dance versus just something that you wanted to feel in the moment? And how did you start to pursue it in a real sense?
I can quite easily say that as a child coming up, when I used to look at the TV, I used to see no black dancers, no black faces, and would always ask the question, but why not? Why not? Why not? Those questions were hard to answer. I know that many people couldn't answer those questions for me. So my job, I felt, was to change that. I wanted to change that. From a very, very, very early age, I had this notion that I had to change that. Some people thought I was a bit cookie. I saw myself as maybe slightly out there. My brothers even thought I was slightly crazy because I had this vision that, well, it's me. I've got to make that change. Okay, if somebody's not going to allow me to do it, then I will allow myself to do it and take what comes with that. When I was very young, and I started off as a classical dancer, all my training at the very, very beginning, from the age of 4 to 12, was classical dance. I was a classically trained dancer. My dream then was to be the first black female ballet dancer in the UK. As I got older, I realised that this was something that was never going to happen, because first of all, there are no black dancers in ballet companies in the UK. So how was I going to change that? I wouldn't know. All I could do was be the best that I could be. I could only be the best that I could be. So I would take the exams, I would come out with the honours. Much to the dismay even of the dancing school teacher who owned the school, oh, she got honours. But actually before that, she would say to my mother, it's okay, we won't put her in for an exam, she can just pass through. My mother, and I can remember this story, this picture very well, my mother stood on one side, the head of the dancing school stood on the other, and they had this conversation with me standing looking up. My mother there, dancing teacher there, if my daughter is not good enough to take that exam, it must be because you are not teaching her well enough. This is when I knew, okay, if I'm articulate, if I'm educated, if I'm smart enough, not only can I talk myself through this, but if I get myself up to a level, I can dance my way through this. Negativity, because it's pure negativity, but it's also, let's keep them down. I know that, and it's really sometimes really difficult, because I think there is a scarring there. The scar is never away. It gets covered up and we fix that by doing great things, but there is a scar there that we all feel. Yeah. I know I feel that. And I have to be really, really careful that that doesn't turn into a negativity. So the way I heal myself is by doing my art.
So you identified that in order for you to pursue your passion in a way that you saw fit that would suit your soul and your spirit,
yes,
you had to be a fighter.
Yes.
That you couldn't be passive.
Nope.
And that you had to be submissive to the disciplines that was going to get you to where you wanted to be, whether it was your education or either mastering your art form.
Well, both, because my father was very much a person who always used to say, if you can't do it by being educated, you have to find another way. So get your education first, because they can't stop you if you know how to speak. They can't stop you if you have the correct answer. If you know yourself, then it's much easier to avoid. You can get past. It's not avoiding it in a bad way. It's saying, I can see it coming towards me. Okay, move, let it pass you. So I'm on some levels, people say, well, actually, Dollie, you're not really like that. You're sort of straight in there. And I do. I go straight in, but I'm knowing. I'm very knowing of what I'm doing. I'm not going to do it to please you. I have to do it to please me. Because if it doesn't please me, it isn't going to please anybody else. And with the work, with dance is something that is so physical, and it is so, you have to put your entire life into it. It's not something that I've ever thought, I'm going to do this part-time. I've never thought about making money out of it in the sense that I have to be rich and famous. What I want is to be successful as a black artist. Be able to stand there and say, I have worked since the age of 4 to the age of I am now to have my own company, to mentor, to educate, to travel all over the world. I've made that happen through my tenacity, through my integrity, I hope, and through my will and pure passion of what I do and the love for what I do, because great things come in many colours. Why can't they come in black? Great things come in so many colours, and we come from all over the world. And my father is so-called immigrant. I'm first generation in England. I'm first generation. So there's a massive, we've got so much more climbing to do before we even get to that place where we're accepted as we belong. Yeah. So it's happening all over the world. It's not just happening in America, it's happening in the UK as well. We're still having to knock down so many doors. So for me, I've always felt that if you know yourself and if you are taking the time to educate yourself, get a great education. At the end of the day, I didn't come out with massive degrees and PhDs, but I educated I read. For me, reading was the source to everything. You know, be inspired by other people, read what other people have done before you.
Yes.
You know, you cannot get there unless you've understood what's gone before you.
Yes.
So it's been a long journey, but it's been an incredible journey because, you know, things attach themselves to you if you're ready to receive.
Yes.
If you're not ready to receive, they're not going to be there for you. If your eyes are not open, if you're not listening. And all of that is part to do with education as far as I'm concerned. And some things you like, some things you don't. And actually, even the things you don't like can serve you somewhere along the line, if you understand it.
No, I get it. Thanks for that.
No, it was a long speech.
No,
Sorry.
no, that was great. That's exactly what we're looking for. Tell me about those moments that help to give you this thrust and this confidence that you have, because I think a lot of people, you know, they work hard every day and they just maybe they won't get that audition for a particular dance job. And what are some of those moments that actually help to propel and build up your confidence to make you the strong, confident person that you are? What were some of those moments?
Do you know what some of those moments are? When somebody says no to you. You know, that word, the N-O word, no. You know, so many times that's been said to me, no, you're not right for this job. Or no, like I said to you at the beginning, she's not ready, or we're not going to put her through the exam. Okay, what does no mean? That no for somebody else means everything. For me, it's an accelerator. It's like me putting my foot on the accelerator. No? Okay, really? Okay, let me go a little, let me push. So for me, a no was a good thing. Actually, if you said yes to me, I'd probably be like, but if you say no to me, it made me go, okay, I'm going to work twice as hard then. I'm going to make myself even better so that you can never say no to me again. And so I think that's my drive. My drive is, I believe in myself. That takes an awful long time, and sometimes, and there have been times when I haven't been all right. There are times when I've had little breakdowns when I've thought, well, why am I doing this? Am I ever going to get through? Am I ever going to make it? But to be quite honest, I touch wood is some of it, but I do believe I've worked extremely hard to be in the place that I am and to have the journey that I've had, because I've chosen places that are going to give me something, that are going to allow me to grow, to allow me to see, to allow me to perceive things in a different way that maybe is different to somebody else. I'm looking at it with an open eye. It's possible. Nothing is not possible unless you put yourself in that situation and say, well, I can't do it.
At what point did you decide that you wanted to go from being a dancer to a business owner? Or was being a business owner at the beginning of your dreams also?
I think the two have run together, and I realise that now, the two have run together.
You're talking about being the only black student and the only black person in a particular environment. Did that make you feel like your life would be harder? It would be harder for you to make it as a successful dancer or a business person? Or is that another situation where, you know, those odds made you feel like, well, you're going to do it anyway?
I'm going to do it anyway, the latter. And I think people have got me the wrong way over the years, actually. They've always said, oh, she's really cutthroat and she's really hard. No, I'm not hard, because you haven't stepped in my shoes and lived my life. And that normally comes from what I call my English compatriots. It's usually, I've always been seen, well, she's a troublemaker. No, I'm not a troublemaker, because I'm articulate and I speak and I know what I want doesn't make me a troublemaker. So, you know, when I was at college, as I said, for 3 years, no other black chick. I looked at it as like, wow, okay, I must be special. I took it in that way, rather than, oh, I must feel inferior. I don't come from that makeup. My makeup is not from that. My parents are not like that. They never told me be subservient. They said, stand there, put your head up high, know who you are, and go through. And so for me, it was never an issue. It was an issue for everybody else that I was the only black girl there. It was not an issue for me. I felt like I was like, well, I'm all right, because I'm not the same as everybody else. That makes me different. It makes me unique. It makes me special. And guess what? You're not as good as me either. So, and people saw that as overconfident. But you know what? To be overconfident in something that you love and something that you're good, there's nothing wrong with that. I often say to my students, there's a line There's ego and there's introverted ego. Introverted ego is dangerous because you don't know what you're doing with it. An open ego is not something that you just jump on people. It's an inner feeling. I have an inner feeling about who I am, what I've wanted to do, always. And I've never deviated from that because this is the purpose I'm here. This is my purpose for being here. So why should I let anyone else take that away? It's my choice if I wish to remove myself. That's not anybody else's choice.
You mentioned the word purpose, and you said that this is your purpose
No,
for
I've
being here.
always believed that.
Now, when you talk about your purpose, is your purpose for being here that same desire and passion that you found when you were, what you were saying, 2 or 7 years old?
Yes. Yeah.
So what you found at 2 or 7 years old, you identified that as your purpose?
As my purpose. I may not have had the articulation to say it at that age, but my spirit, and I can only say it as that, and I do believe all right, this might sound really crazy, but you know, it's not just me. I'm a vessel. I'm a vessel. I have to humble myself to the fact that I'm a vessel and something's going through me, and I am the conduit for that in whatever I am doing here. And it's taken me time. There was a time when I used the term, why me? And people go, what's she talking about? But I knew what I was talking about. Why me? Why me? Now I know why me, because somebody has to do this. Okay, so obviously my spirit and my personality, or whoever I am, is strong enough to be able to cope with that. I'm not saying that I haven't had days where I've broken down and cried and thought, I can't do this. You know, I wouldn't be human if I didn't feel that. But that has never stopped me. That's actually always, I just need to sit back and go, take a breath, Dom, take a breath. Okay, let's go again. So it is about just sometimes just stopping and having a look around you and realising actually some of the things that are stopping you from getting where you are actually have nothing to do with you. It's the situation around you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to step back and have a look at the situation and realise, well actually, I'm not making this happen. I'm not the fault of this.
Yeah.
It's somebody else's fault why this is not happening. Okay? How do I move around that? Get better, don't get bitter.
I like that. I like that. You mentioned your purpose, and what I want to do, I want to build on that a little bit. What were some of your accomplishments that made you feel like you were fulfilling your purpose? Some of the things that when you, whether it was a certain performance, whether it was performing with somebody, what were some of those things that you built on to make you feel like you were connecting with yourself and your purpose?
I think again that started very, very quite early on as a child dancer, as a child, because I was in the studio so much as a dancer, as a student, but I also was given the key as the only black student to go in because my question was, I want to choreograph. So I can't choreograph while I'm training, so is it possible to come in early in the morning and late in the evening and leave late at night, as long as I can have the time in the morning, do my studying in the daytime, but I want to be in at 7 o'clock in the morning so that I can, those choreographic pieces were asked to be presented. Then I started to win awards, then I started to do competitions, I started to win the competitions, I then started to win All England, then I was taken to Europe. So I knew I was on the right run, because why else would I be winning these things? Why else would people be saying, I'd like you to work with me? I'm not old enough to work with you. I have to be 17 before I can work with you. Those people would wait for me to be 17, then come back to college and say to the head of the school, we really want to have Dollie now. We really want. So it's in, for me, and it's interesting talking about it with you, because often I'm not asked of these things. People don't ask me because they don't want to know. They actually don't want to know, because actually, well, if we start to really know what Dollie's done, why haven't we not given her this? Why have we not given her the platform before? Because for me, even now at my age, with a company that I've had for 20 years, with my whole life has been dance. My whole life has been in the theatre. My whole life has been to be a visionary of some sort. My whole life has been to be a catalyst of some sort. My whole life has been to make an art form be represented properly. Well, I started at 4, I'm 52, I have no intention of stopping until it is proved right that we are here, we exist, and I'm able to do this. This is what my God's put me here to do.
Wow, that's amazing.
I have no problem in saying that, because I'm still here, doing it.
Yeah,
So it must be true.
It must be your,
It must
your purpose.
be, yeah,
your
that's my,
destiny.
that's my purpose.
That's amazing.
You know?
I want to go to the next level of your destiny. And you mentioned, you know, you were teaching when you were a young age. What was it that connected in you as a part of your purpose that made you want to give the arts to others? How did that channel through you? What was it that motivated you to want to help others around you to learn what you had?
I'd be totally honest with you, because it wasn't given to me in the way I would have liked it, without the prejudice. For me, it was, you know, when I was given anything, it was like, well, we've got to give it to her because she's great. It wasn't given to me but it wasn't done in a nice way. It wasn't done in a mentoring way. I had to ask for everything that I needed to get what I wanted. Having said that, when I got it, I gave it its full whack back. But, you know, when I look at students today and I look at the dancers today, they are in so much need of knowing that somebody cares. And for me, it's about showing that you care about yourself, your art form, and you're instilling that into the next generation. Because that wasn't always given to me, I always felt, well, my purpose is to give that back to these students. They need to know that it's important that you get the slap on the, come on, get it together, but there's also, now, let's talk about it from another point of view. That's the physical point of view. What's going on up here? Because I don't think I was given what's going on up here.
And what has your experience been with Dollie?
With Dollie?
Big smile there.
A challenging one, if I was going to be completely honest. Because with Dollie, there comes a point where you can't hide. And she knows that. And you know that. So you either go with it and take along the emotions and everything that it brings, because you almost have to get to the end and get to the greatness that you can become if you go with it. Yeah, you just have to take the ride.
I was just given, well, she's, you know, she thinks she's great, or she is good, but we won't give her too much. We won't give her too much because we don't want her head to go. No, let the child run.
So
let
you
them.
believe that this connection and this purpose goes beyond technique?
Absolutely, it has to go beyond technique. We're not, you know, we're not machines. We're not machines. You know, there are certain bodies that can do amazing things, but actually, if you look at a lot of dancers who have amazing technique, sometimes they don't have any soul. And so for me, it's finding the balance. You have a great technique, but once you've got the technique, what do you do with it? You then have to put flesh onto that technique. You have to put a life into that technique. You have to put, you know, an experience into that technique. You have to put yourself, in other words. It has to be you. All the technique in the world does not make you a great dancer.
So when you're giving helping younger dancers to make that connection between their physical technique and their soul, how does that make you feel, being in the center of that energy, that process, and helping them to find and develop their purpose?
For me, I get very excited when I see it happen, when I see the click, when I see it make sense to them. And, you know, I think teaching is a difficult thing, or mentoring, because I actually say I mentor now. I teach an awful lot, but I have mentoring within my company. We have mentoring programs where people have got lost along the way. They love it, but they've got lost along, or something's happened to them. I say, come and spend a month with me, with the company. Don't want anything, I just want you to, let's get rid of all that baggage. Let's just get rid of all that baggage and find out who you are. Once you know who you are, everything else is going to flower from that. So that's what I get excited about. I get excited about seeing somebody coming down and go away open. You know, a lot of dancers come in closed because they're scared. They're really scared, or they've been told somewhere along the line, you're not going to make it, you're rubbish, whatever. And generally black students are told, you're never going to make it. In England, that's a problem. We have a problem that we have dancers coming through, spending thousands of pounds to be educated, to go where? To have a career in what, when it's not even there for them. So for me, being in my position to be able to stand there as a black woman, not a black man actually, a black woman, because it is difficult for black women, specifically in England, to be able to stand there and stand quite proudly and say, well, you can't take it away from me, but I can give it to somebody else. And that's my job, that's part of my job, is to pass on. We have to pass it on. If we don't pass it on, it's going to end.
What do you think the students here could benefit from Dollie, as far as her teaching, yes, here in the U.S.?
Oh God, there's no one like Dollie in the world. I mean, we were discussing that. I'm not saying because I work with her, I just say because I really think that there's no another person, another artist like Dollie, to be honest. So I really believe that what she brings, classes or on stage or as a performer or as an artistic director or as a human being, is just unique. I mean, you wouldn't really experience that anywhere else in the world. So she just brings that.
This company that you have, and I've been hearing all the great things that you've been saying as far as your personality, your purpose, and just how you feel that we need to connect technique and soul and so forth. Every individual that you come into contact, you try to make sure that they understand that this is who you are and you.
It's a
part
philosophy.
that.
Yeah, I try to make them understand there's a philosophy behind this. It's not just the doing of it, it's the living of it. It's how you live with it, how you live for it, how you give to it, and it gives you back. And so, you know, Bop, I started Bop in 1996. I founded the company in 1996, and the reason I founded the company because I wanted to make sure that the jazz art form was still going to continue, particularly in England, where in many ways I think we have a really warped understanding of what jazz is in England, because we have it only from the musical theatre side, and the musical theatre side is white. Now I understand that might feel icky for people, but it's true. If we go back in history and we look at how the divide happened, you have the white jazz and you have the black jazz. Same with the music. You have the white jazz music, you have the black jazz music. We're having problems today bringing all that back together again. In my company, I said, okay, it may be led by a black woman, but I don't want a completely black company. I live in a country where diversity is supposed to be the norm. Okay, let me have a diverse group of people. I can have men, women, I've had people from China, I've had people from Japan, I've got Italian dancers, I've had French dancers, I've had black, white, you name it, because that's what I believe that the art form is. I am the only jazz choreographer who has a jazz theatre company in the country. And because there wasn't anything for me to go into, my only route was to go to the musical theatre, as in musical theatre like you have Broadway here. But I was like, well, actually, but that's not jazz. Because it's been watered down, it's been made palatable for the audience to understand. It's a money maker. It's not about the art form, it's this commercial commodity. So if that's happening, what am I going to do? Okay, let me start it myself and let me start a company. So at 17, in my head, when I was still at college, I decided, and I remember saying to the head of the school, she asked me, what are you going to do, Dollie, when you leave? And I said, I'm going to have my own company. Oh, she said. That's what she said to me. And I said, I'm going to have my own company. One day, I will have my own company, and it will be a jazz company, because I was a bit like that. And that was dismissed. 17 years later, I wrote her a letter. Dear Miss Lane, I have founded my own company. I am now a limited company. My company is called Body of People Jazz Theatre Company. And the reason I called it Body of People is because it wasn't about me.
Yeah.
I wanted to go back to the community of what jazz was all about. So if I name it under me, there's my ego. That's how I really thought. There's your ego, Dollie Henry Company. It didn't sound right. It just did not sound right. So I spent many a night for a good 3 months thinking, what do I want to call this? It's about people, it's about us, it's about me, it's about me bringing people together. And it came, Body of People. And that's why, and then it could be shortened to Bop, which then links it to the jazz. So I was like, I've done what, so that was what my company was about. It's about bringing people together who believed in the same thing, who wanted to dance, really truly dance. Not just do it for the money, but find a way, an artistic release that's coming from the jazz idiom, from the jazz genre.
Okay, thank you. It sounds like education is is a strong part of, like you mentioned, your philosophy, your purpose, and your belief systems. Would you suggest that said education is needed to help bring back the culture together in terms of bringing all of these different styles back to their original art forms? We need education to help home.
I think we do, and I feel what's happened, and I'm sure many other people may feel the same, and conversations I've had with people that feel the same. We've lost our way. I think we've lost our way. We are, at the moment, we are in a little bubble. We're not sure what's happening ahead of us. We've forgotten what's gone on before us, and it's all about now. It's all about now. I want it now. We can't have it now unless we've remembered what we've done and we know where we're going with it, because we're just messing it up. So for me, it's about staying true to yourself. It's about understanding where you've come from and where you want to go. And for me, I'm not trying to change anybody's perception. I'm just saying there is another way to do this. It doesn't have to relate to money. It has to relate to your art. It's so huge. It's such a huge thing, and I think we've forgotten that along the way. It's become a commercial commodity.
And you feel that history
it's
is
been
something,
dumbed down. It's been dumbed down.
We need to infuse history in this whole process.
I think we do.
To help create a real foundation.
I think we do, because we've lost our foundation. We're wading a little bit, and it doesn't matter. You know, I look at young students today, black, white, whatever. A lot of them don't know their history. They don't know why they do what they do. They're just doing it. Well, that's fine. But then what happens to the next generation and the next generation, and when we've lost everything because you can't remember where it came from? For me, I still look at the people who I'm now standing on their shoulders saying, thank you for giving me the props to be able to stand here and do this. I can't negate the fact that they've worked hard and they've lost and they've given back and not respect that. And I think it's respect. I think much of it's to do with respect for oneself, but then respect for what's gone before.
Have you gotten a good response from your students and just from people in general in terms of your passion to hold an art form together, being true to the history and just really trying to help people find their purpose?
I think it's more so now that that's starting to come in a good place for me. I think in the past people were not understanding what I was trying to say, because it's so different. It's so different to what everybody else is doing. I wasn't trying to do what everybody else was doing. I was trying to do something that was not there and make it. It's here. It exists. We can't run away from it. It's always been there. We can't change the fact that we are black. You can't change the fact that you're white, but we can come together, we can understand each other, we can work together, we can see it in a different way. We can actually create something completely new, but we must never forget where it has come from, and that is through education. That is also through discussion.
Yes.
That is also through everybody sitting together. You know, there's not a time when we do a show that I don't sit with everybody and we sit together. It's not about being, oh, isn't that nice? No, it's about becoming a community again, working as one, sharing as one. And I think that everyone's so desperate at the moment to be something.
Yes.
And they don't know what it is they want to be.
When I think about everything that you're saying, I think about the young people, and what's going through my mind is, how were you able to hold it together in terms of your purpose, your philosophy, your way of life, when everybody else was going in the other direction? How did you stand firm in your beliefs to say that, you know what, it's okay what they're doing and it's okay what they're doing, but I know that this is the right thing to do, and this is truth right here, and I want to walk in truth, and even though I may walk alone or with one or two persons, I'm going to stand alone in the cold. How did you maintain that in the midst of all the peer pressure, and as dance started growing and the culture started changing and everybody started to gravitate toward the commercialization of dance, how did you say, you know what, I'm still gonna stay true to the
Who I
spirit
am
of
and
who
what
I am?
You either know it or you don't. I'm listening to the question, I'm thinking, how do I really answer that? You either know it or you don't. And you can, I have to have integrity by what I do. And if I don't believe in something, I will not do it. But if I believe in something, I'm going to stick and I'm going to stay with it. And I've always believed, as I said earlier on, this is my purpose. If you know your purpose, and I can't exactly answer that question because that's something, as I said, that's
Even if
just...
it doesn't involve money,
No.
you're not going to be swayed by money?
No, because that's not it. The money, I didn't come in with any, I'm not going out with any. That's what I'm saying. The purpose is to do something that is either going to enlighten people, share with you, make you part of, but it's a good thing. It's a happy thing. Money isn't everything. Money, we know that. We know that. Look at the world. It's a mess. It's a mess, all because of money. If we look at art was never about money. It was never about, it was about what you feel. It's about what's coming through you, what's allowed to pass through you. So it's a difficult question. It's not a difficult question.
You answered it. You answered it when you said it's not about money. It's about the art and the preservation of the art. You answered the question.
And that's my integrity. My integrity is always asking.
Staying true. That's the trueness.
Truth of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so.
You know, we earn money because we earn money.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not a millionaire and I don't ever expect to be in my lifetime, but that's not why I do what I do. If that was the case, I should be really, really rich, but I'm not. And I have a richness in another way. And I often say to people, you know, they often come to my home or whatever, oh, you've got a beautiful home, you keep it so big. No, it's normal things that normal people have. All I do is I take care of it.
Yeah.
I respect it because I know I've had to work really hard to get it. And that's not anything to me because when that's broken, it doesn't matter. It's not. What's important is I can get up and I can kick my leg tomorrow. I can go and share something with her. I can teach the next generation. I can work with beautiful dancers. I can give you. I can make you walk out of that door. You can come through the door feeling like the worst you've ever felt. But I know when you walk out of that door, you're going to feel so much better about yourself because you've done something for you.
Yes. Trueness. I wanted to go into how are you spreading those truths here in the U.S. because obviously you're here in New York with us in Harlem. Talk to us about what you have planned for the future and what you're doing here.
Well, I've been coming to New York now for the last 23, 24 years, and it almost feels like home to me. I feel whenever I come here, I'm coming home. As much as I feel at home in England, I'm coming home. But then I've always said that I'm a child of the world. Wherever I go, I make it home, and that's easy for me to do because I don't have any barriers, and I'm not coming in trying to say I'm somebody and I'm going to take your. No, we can come, we can do something together. We can just be friends like we're talking now, and we will be friends for the rest of our lives because I'm not looking to take anything. I'm coming to be part of, to bring something that maybe isn't so seen anymore. Coming here, as I say, I feel connected because there is an understanding of my heritage, of my heritage. You know, I'm West Indian on some level, I'm Indian on another, I have Irish, I have Scottish. I feel there's a little bit of American in me somewhere, and often many people say, you're so American, Doll. No, I can be American because we take the words away and we take the countries away, we're all the same.
Humans.
Yeah, we're all the same. You know, so coming in here and being able to share has been fun. And I have had the chance to teach here before. I've worked with George Faison before in his wonderful theatre downstairs. There are a number of people that I've worked with, and in particular, you know, I said about Diane McIntyre and George, they have been my mentors in many ways because I never had those mentors in the UK. I never had black mentors to look up to. I've always had to look out for mine. And then in many ways I've had to find myself to become that. You know, I've had to find myself because, okay, somebody's got to do it at home.
Yes.
So for me, I don't feel like I'm anywhere. I feel like I'm just part of the whole.
Yes.
So to come back here and be teaching next week and giving the master classes, I'm delighted. I'm really looking forward to it. I do think it's going to shake some people up, and it's going to make people really, really look at who they are and what they're really doing and what they're saying about the art form of jazz. and where it's gone, because it's losing its way, and I don't think we should lose it. It's our art form.
Yes.
It is our art form, and it doesn't matter where we are in the world, it's still our art form. And in many ways, I was saying to we did a mentoring program in January in England, and a lot of them didn't understand the journey of jazz and where it had come from, and they just assumed that it has just come from America. Well, no, hang on a minute, it came from Africa, it went via the West Indies, it then went to South America, it's gone to America, and guess what, then it went around the world. It's only how people have changed it along, and it is meant to be changed because it's a contemporary art form. It's always going to be a contemporary art form, so it's going to change, but we still mustn't lose what's its seed, what's the root, what's the cause, what's the reason why we do it. The reason why we do it is because we are a community of people that have something to say, and we say it through our physical voice, we say it through our physical body, and we say it through our physical writing, and it needs to be understood, it needs to be read, and it needs to be raised.
Yes, and I agree. Is this how you help your students to understand
Absolutely.
the passion of the dance in your classes? This is how you actually help them to grab hold of it?
Connect, because this is a healer. You know, if I'm totally honest, when I have been down and when I have, the one thing that I know is I can go into a studio and I can dance, and I will heal myself through that. So it's not just about doing it to present myself as a performer or to earn money. I think somewhere along the line we've forgotten that it heals us.
Yes.
You know, and for me, you know, maybe that's why I look so young. It's because I've been able to be healed. You know, I mean, no, I jest. But I mean, I'm looking at you and going, ah. But it's, you know, it's healed me.
Yes.
There are times when I have been in despair.
Sure.
It saved me. It saved me. It saved me from going mad.
Yes.
So that's the bit I would like people to get back to understanding it's not just an art form. It's more than an art form. It's more than an art form, what we do.
I totally agree. So in closing, and I hate to use that word after every interview, in closing, is there anyone that you would like to thank that have helped you to be the great person that you are today? Because you are certainly a great person.
You know, I could start with George, I could start with Diane, I could even start with you, because you're here helping me right now, and I want to say thank you to you for giving me the opportunity to speak and be part of, you know, everything that you're doing. And for me, I want to thank life. Life has been a wonderful thing, and you make out of it what you can, and you do what you can with it. At the end of the day, it's your choice. I'd like to thank myself for not giving up. I'd like to thank myself also for having the tenacity and integrity to stick with what I believe in, because it has been really hard. I'd like to thank my parents for giving me the opportunity to put those dancing shoes on at the age of 4 and say, go and be. You know, because I know so many children are not in that position. And that's not coming from favouritism as a child, or because my parents happened to have some sort of wealth. No, they had a vision too. They had a vision which was to offer their children a chance to be better than them. You know, so I thank them for that. I thank the fact that, you know, jazz has given me a life. It's given me a life. The art form itself has given me a life. It's allowed me to see things that I would never be able to have seen. It's allowed me to travel. My work has allowed me to see the world in a totally different way and be open and respectful of other people. So, yeah, life. I thank life.
And another question is, what would you like your legacy to be?
I've been asked that one before, or if I have, I've probably gone.
I mean, you've answered throughout the interview as far as who you are, your belief systems, integrity, staying true, and so forth. So you have answered that, but just in terms of legacy, you know how we always look back at different individuals.
That's like, ooh, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
But if I would like a legacy, if I thought about it, particularly in England, I'd like to have the legacy to know that this is the lady that kept the jazz art form alive and kicking, and she brought people through, and it continues even after she's gone. There's the legacy of Dollie. You know, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it's okay. I'm still doing it anyway.
And that's a great legacy, and that's a great way to think about it. Any last words you may have?
don't do the dream, live the dream. You know, really live every moment. If you have a dream and you believe that you can do it, go ahead and do it. If it doesn't work, it's okay. You haven't failed. At least you tried. And for me, it is trying that's the most thing. Don't just stop because it says somebody said no. Everyone said no to me, and without being rude, I went, okay. That's your opinion. That's your opinion. It's not my opinion. No for me was meant put your foot down and go. So that would be my sort of catchphrase to people. If you hear a no, say go.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. So I just want to thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
let
so
you know
much.
how much I appreciate it. And
My pleasure.
we look forward to following you on throughout your journey.
That would be lovely. And
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.